The Jeep Compass has been a formidable product for the FCA group in India. The only proper SUV with a real 4x4 system, the Compass garnered a lot of demand initially when it was first launched.
But as time has passed, less than 1,000 units are sold every month of the Compass in India. The demand for it has dropped, but because there's always been a sense that the Compass has lacked something. There's always been something missing. But now with the BS6 upgrade to the diesel engine, there's also an automatic offering. But is there still anything missing in the Compass? Let's find out. But before we begin, do remember to like, share and subscribe.
And tell us what you think in the comment sections below.
The Jeep Compass diesel has been upgraded to BS6 ahead of the April 2020 deadline, which means that the Compass diesel is now cleaner and more refined. But a lot has gone into reducing the tailpipe emissions. Additionally, Jeep has also finally thrown in a 9-speed automatic transmission with the Compass, hoping to cater to a wider audience. Here's what's new. With the 2020 BS6 upgrade to the Compass, has anything really changed to the exterior styling?
No.
Moving on. So the interior is pretty much identical to the previous model. It continues to get the 8.4-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It gets the large panoramic sunroof and the dual-tone interiors. However, the only thing that is new in the interior is the automatic gear lever with the diesel variant. But now, let's see how this baby performs on the road. The Compass uses the same 2-liter multi-jet diesel engine. It produces the same 170 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque, and it, however, has been upgraded to BS6 now, so the emissions are cleaner. It drives just as good as before. It seems a little bit more refined on the move, and the diesel clatter inside the cabin is, I guess, marginally less, but there is some that seeps inside if you're not using the audio music system and such. But it's not something that will bother you for too long. The engine performs just as good as it did before.
This refinement mostly comes from the upgrades that the engine has had to go through to become BS6 compliant. Now what happens here is that the exhaust gases first must go through the SCR system where they react with the fluid from the AdBlue tank, and then again they are filtered through the PPF. Now what all this basically means is that the Compass BS6 now runs cleaner and smoother.
Exactly. But now to address the elephant in the room, and that is this 9-speed automatic gearbox. It is the same one lifted from the Trailhawk, however it does not get the low ratio, nor does it get the rock crawl mode. But it is paired well with the engine, and the shifts are quite smooth, but it does retain the intelligence from the Trailhawk. So if you're going downhill or going through a corner, the gearbox is smart enough to hold the gear, so you're always in the correct rev range, so that if you need power, it's always there for you.
Alright, so well, that's a smart gearbox, but let's talk about, has the BS6 compliance affected the fuel economy?
Surprisingly, it hasn't, even with an automatic transmission. I have driven extensively the BS4 version with the manual, and then I was getting about 10 to 11 in city traffic and some mixed conditions in the highway as well. But this one surprisingly is returning us about 12.2 kmph, which is pretty nice. We have been driving this car in rush hour traffic, and despite getting us 12 is pretty impressive. However, if you do get to drive the car in much easier traffic conditions, you're likely to get better fuel economy from this car.
So I've got to do my job as a passenger. I'm going to get over at the back seat and tell you what it's like. Now about the rear passenger seat comfort, well, it's definitely a nice premium space to be in. There's ample of legroom. Well, for someone like me, I'm 5'5". The under thigh support is good, the back support is good. The two passengers will be comfortable. The ride at the back may feel a little firm, but then it does not really cross over into being uncomfortable. Long distance drives will be easy peasy. The other convenience features here are very important. It's got a rear AC vent, it's got a USB port at the back, and the cabin feels very roomy. There's a lot of light, thanks of course to the panoramic sunroof.
Now, there are a few small glitches with the Compass that we are not really happy with that could have been improved. But they are like the dead pedal for the automatic gearbox is a little uncomfortable because the transmission tunnel bulks up around and your foot has to go underneath and behind it, which it's not very comfortable, especially for long journeys. So that's a negative for the Compass, unfortunately. Another thing, that the start-stop function that you have, it is a little abrupt on the restart. It's a little slow, and sometimes it gets confused what it really wants to do. So that can be a little annoying when you're driving through stop-and-go traffic. And finally, what I find really weird are the steering mounted controls. Usually in every other car, everything's right in front of the driver, so they know what is where. But with this, there are 6 buttons behind the steering wheel with no indication what they do. But only if you have driven the car for some kilometers and have used the buttons, you'd know that the ones on the right, the back, are for the volume, and the ones on the left manage the tracks of the music for the audio controls. It's really unnecessary to have them right at the back and not knowing what they do. But once you get used to them, they are okay. It's not too bad.
The one final thing to address is the price. At around 25 lakh ex-showroom, some might find it to be a little steep, but that is the price one has to pay for a cleaner diesel engine with an automatic gearbox. The Compass offers good amount of equipment as it comes loaded with features, and barring the Isuzu V-Corss, it is the only SUV that offers a proper 4x4 in the segment. So, if you do buy a Jeep Compass, would you say it'll be a disappointing decision though?
Well, there are a few minor glitches like we mentioned earlier, but none of them serious enough to hinder your ownership experience. So if you are looking for a proper SUV with a 4x4, then the Compass is something you should seriously consider.
Thank you very much for watching.
Until next time.